A slightly up day here for equity markets. If you're looking at tech stocks, if you're looking at anything else, well, it's a lot of red on the screen.
Yeah, there is a lot of red on the screen. I've been looking at kind of the S&P 500. Most names in the index are down. I do feel like, yep, yay, Broadcom. That certainly has lifted that group. But I think we're already looking ahead to next week in the Fed meeting.
Yeah, but if you look at the SOX, even though the SOX is up 3.3%, thanks Broadcom,
Not
thanks
every
Marvell.
name is up.
Exactly. AMD is lower, Microchip Technology, NVIDIA, Intel on. So we're not seeing enthusiasm across the sector.
If you think Broadcom's having a great day, take a look at what Avago's doing right now.
I hope it's one of Carol's gainers.
That's very funny.
Thank you, Carol Massar.
That's a throwback there, Romaine.
There are like two people who got that joke.
No, I got it. I was making fun of myself.
You just didn't think it was funny.
No, exactly. Because on radio, I was like, wait, why did they change their name again? Yeah, anyway.
Avago was always a little bit curious in terms of like, what did it actually mean? You talk about the growth stocks and how it's kind of uneven. You look at growth stocks as a whole versus value stocks, and that gap between them is now at the widest since 2021. There's been some work done on this, which shows that in the past, getting to this level tends to trigger a reversal. I don't know if next week and the Fed meeting might be the catalyst for that reversal.
I mean, maybe, but, you have to wonder. I mean, I'm sure everyone's going to be trading the Fed, right? But you know that at 3:01, everyone's putting in their stops and going home for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we see the positioning around it right now. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens when we get to that actual date. Meanwhile, here on this Friday afternoon, a wrap up here on the day and on the week with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 86 points or 0.2%. And that gives it a decline on a weekly basis of roughly about 2%. The S&P, we're just going to call it unchanged on your screen there. It's going to settle in right around 6,051, though it is going to be down on the week by about 0.6%, snapping 3 straight weeks of gains. The Nasdaq, though, continuing its winning streak for a 4th straight week. The composite up about 24 points or 0.1%. On a weekly basis, up about 7 to 0.8%. And the Russell 2000 down on the day and on the week on the day, losing about 0.6%. Carol.
All right, just want to mention a headline crossing the Bloomberg terminal. Supermicro said to consider raising some equity and debt, said to tap Evercore to raise capital. So some news just coming after the closing bell.
Yeah, we actually see the stock moving significantly, down 7% in the after hours just after this was reported. Once again, Supermicro Computer set to tap Evercore to raise capital, set to consider raising equity and debt.
Yeah, this is after Supermicro had lost about 4 days or declined for the last 4 straight days. All right, let's take a look at the IMAP. You can see some green, some red, but notably the green, very few and far between. Tech, consumer and discretionary, each up, but only by 0.4%. The big decliner of the group is communication services. So a split there in those growthy names. Communication services down more than 1%, mainly on weakness in streamers like Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery. Materials and energy, commodity type names also lower today.
All right, let's get to the name that we all talked about a lot on this Friday. We're talking about Broadcom. As we know, the ticker AVGO. Doesn't seem like it makes sense, but if you understand the history of the company, thank you, Romaine, we do understand it. The stock up about 24% here after the close, hitting a record, also surging to a $1 trillion market cap. So really a blowout day. First hitting that market valuation for the first time. Top gainer in the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500. Earnings coming out, predicting a boom in demand for AI chips. So some really strong numbers, especially when it comes to the outlook. We got a lot of context on the call last night with analysts, and so that one was really a standout in today's session. RH, let's go there. This one also an outperformer, up almost 20% at its highs today, finishing the day with a gain of just shy of 17%. Stock is up more than 50% here in 2024. The company raising its revenue forecast for 2025, swung to a profit in the third quarter. TD Cowen raising its price target to 500 from 380. Stock closed at 446 and change. Morgan Stanley, Baird, Jefferies also raising their price targets. And Alex, I know you like to shop there.
Oh, I wish. I was just looking at their couches. I really did like some of their colors, but for 16 grand,
It's all big and it's all expensive. All right, Walgreens Boots also one of the top gainers in the S&P 500, guys, up about 7% here. Sycamore Partners arranging debt funding for a deal to buy Walgreens Boots alliance with B of A, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo. Among those asked to help finance the deal. This was all coming from Sky News, a report out. They did not cite where they got the information, but nonetheless, this was definitely a strong performer in the Friday trade.
All right, you got the gainers, Carol. I got the decliners, and not every company in the chip space surging today. NVIDIA down for a second day in a row. It's actually down close to 10% from that all-time high back in the earlier part of November. Today, falling 2.3%, still up 170% so far this year, but among the most actively traded stocks today. Novo Nordisk shares fell in Copenhagen today to close lower by 4%. Here in the U.S., ADRs fell by 1.5%. The company's blockbuster Ozempic was linked to an increased risk of a rare form of vision loss. It's in a study that backs up Harvard University research that was published earlier this year. The study wasn't able to determine whether there was a similar impact among people taking Wegovy, which is Ozempic's sister drug for obesity. Shares again today, ADRs, I should say, fell by 1.5%. And then Charles Schwab came out today, and they raised their full-year revenue growth forecast on optimism around investor engagement and strength in the equity markets following the U.S. presidential election. Still,
So why are the shares down?
investors fell. Investors sent shares lower by 4%. Some analysts said that they even they missed their own estimates and that they were mixed. But Schwab did say that, and this makes sense in a lower interest rate environment, customers are keeping their cash on the platform for longer. They're not moving it to those higher yielding savings account. So that's been a boon for the company. You remember those issues that they had back in 2023 as a result of higher interest rates outside of Schwab's platform. So they're keeping their cash at Schwab for longer periods of time.
Yeah, because those higher yielding savings accounts are more like yielding saving accounts.
I'm getting a lot of emails saying that that your interest rate's changing.
Yeah.
They're not saying it's getting lower, or the yield is getting lower. They're saying it's changing.
Oh, no, mine is. My yield's definitely getting lower by a good 100 basis points so far.
Lower.
I
They're just
haven't
saying
moved
it's
it.
changing. They're using the word change rather than
thinking about where to move it.
Okay.
Anyway, I
You
digress.
and everyone else,
But
Alex.
here is why maybe that rate should go up.
Does
And this
Tim
is,
work for these banks or something? Because he seems to be defending them. Pretty.
he knows a lot.
He's
I got
hedging a little
accounts.
bit.
I got accounts all over, Romaine.
Okay, I'm going to yields because speaking of, I want to talk about the bond market because honestly, aside from Broadcom, the bond market was where the action was today. You saw a sell-up all across the curve, particularly in the back end. I should point out that for the 10-year yield, the whole week you've seen a rise about 25 basis points for that 10-year. And if you look at the technical pattern of the 10-year, we're in a golden cross, you guys. And that means the short-term moving average is above the long-term moving average, and that usually is a bullish signal, which means something because then you're going to shake out positioning and does that have a knock-on effect when it comes to equities.
And just want to point out, too, on that 10 and 30 year, this is actually the biggest jump that we've seen in yields on a weekly basis all year long.
Since October of 2023.
Yeah.
This is the most that it's moved. So it was something.
Look at it now, right? Because it could change next week with that Fed meeting. So we'll see what happens. Hey, guys, one of the things that, I should say Tim is obsessed with.
I know Romaine is obsessed with this story.
Romaine, we're doing this story just for you.
I don't know what the story is.
Oh, gosh.
Has to do with some drones over in New Jersey.
Wait, who here among us lives in New Jersey?
That's just Carol
Okay,
raising
all
her
right.
hand.
Have
for
you
those on
seen
radio.
these drones?
No, but I haven't really been looking for them either. I work a lot, and by the time I get home, it's dark.
That's when they come
Carol.
out. That's when the
So,
drones
Carol,
come
you're
out,
not you're not concerned at all about
No.
all this alien life hovering over your house?
I'm not
Yeah.
concerned. I'm not concerned
Okay.
at all.
All right, these are mysterious drones. They've been spotted flying over New Jersey.
Not
They
yet,
sparked
please.
concern and conspiracy theories among residents and lawmakers. You even had Senator Andy Kim doing a, what do you call it? It's not a tweet storm anymore.
He rode
An
with the
X-storm,
police.
a
He
posting
went out with the
storm.
police.
In all
right?
seriousness,
On Twitter.
one thing I am curious about, Nelson, because they say that a lot of these objects, we'll just call them, are hovering over also, not just over houses, they're hovering over police stations, infrastructure, power plants, things like that. And I think that's where some of the alarm's coming in. But it raises the question as to why haven't we gotten an explanation on this?
Well,
U.S. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said today, quote, yesterday, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. So he's saying they're just planes.
We talked to Nick
Many of them.
Wadhams, right, who follows security here at Bloomberg, and he said they're.
Can you see me squinting my eyes in a skeptical fashion?
He said eventually they're going to have to come out and say something just because it's getting so much attention. But it could be government, it could be corporate. Like, there's a lot of
Corporate.
possibilities.
Or maybe it's
do corporate
aliens.
jets just hover over, critical infrastructure?
Companies use drones to check out their facilities. Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, then just say
Then-
that.
Then why haven't they said that?
I don't know.
What are they hiding?
Okay,
I
see,
knew
it's a
Romaine
good
loved this
story.
story.
Maybe it's all for some TV show. Maybe like some TV producers are creating some reality show, and this is all part of it. And we're going to get some great visuals at the end of the day.
TBD.
Yeah.
TBD.
Okay.
Well,
Apparently none
you know,
of you
speaking-
have ever been to the movies because this never ends well. It always starts just one thing in the sky, and everyone's like, "Oh, isn't that cute?" And then
But see, it's
2
the beginning
hours
of a
later,
great story.
we're all,
We knew Romaine would love this.
slaves to the grok.
You know,
Say thank you.
speaking of TV shows, you guys, anyone watch The Hot Ones?
Oh, it's a great
Yes.
show. Yeah.
You guys are all fans?
I love these chats. Who picked these chats today?
I think we all did. Yeah, BuzzFeed has sold the company behind the Hot Ones to a group of investors.
They sold it? Isn't that all BuzzFeed has?
Well, now they have $82.5 million.
Oh, wow.
So there's something.
Okay.
Well, they had to pay down some debt, so this was cash going towards that. But
right.
yeah, who is this one? This is Steph Curry. I think the
Steph
best
Curry.
one was
There's
with
Lenny
Conan
Kravitz,
O'Brien.
John Mulvaney, right? Is that who that is? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know who that is.
You know, we did a live Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Out at
we heard.
Screen
the
time.
Screen Time.
Yeah.
You did?
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we
that's
watched.
fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How'd that go?
Cranston.
We
great.
didn't do it. We just heard
Cool
we heard
Jay.
screaming while we were on air.
We were right
Essentially.
there.
They were right behind us. So
It was
there
pretty cool
A lot
at the
of
Screen
sound.
Time event in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Hey, Romaine, be careful. I think that's a drone above your head.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Honestly,
He's okay with that.
yeah, I could use the break, take me up there, do whatever you want with me.
All right, we got to go. Stay safe, stay warm, guys. We will see you again. Same time, same place.
Alex, you got something to say?
I got
Maybe
nothing.
Alex and Scarlet will come back. That's all I'm going to say. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you on Monday for the closing bell.